All right, we are live on this amazing day. Oh my God, I cannot believe I get to play with my good friend Kitty here. Before
This
we dive into our play, what was that?
this is quite the day, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm just going to make sure we are where we need to be to make sure all of our friends are playing along with us. So if you want, Kitty, while I'm doing that, go ahead and introduce yourself. Chat a little bit while I sit here being distracted.
I am Kitty Foss, co-founder of Intuition of the Soul, which is a platform for learning about different spiritualities, and I am a storytelling astrologer, which is why we're here today because it's quite the story going on today. I'm also co-owner if you're interested in your astrology and learning about your chart of Optimize Your Energy with the Sun and the Moon, where we teach people how to use their charts to manifest what they want and learn about their own energies. So, we are here today to talk about this special day that I've been saying to people circle this day over the last couple weeks. Getting ready for the last day of Gemini for the summer solstice tomorrow. The big player today we're going to be talking about is Mercury is having a chat with Jupiter. And Jupiter's been out there talking to our more external energy planets, getting some great information. And today you have the opportunity to activate it to get some of that information as you get ready for the solstice, the most light for this part of the world. Um, and for the other part of the world, the shortest day. So it is an interesting day. There's a lot of energies to activate. It's called a sextile. But Jupiter is talking to good old Mercury right now. So
All right. That was a nice introduction. Now, before we dive into the biggie stuff, just want to say hello to all of everyone who's watching, everyone on Twitter, everyone on YouTube. Those of you on Twitter, just go ahead and hit that little heart. YouTube, you know the rules. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up and also subscribe if you have not already. And we are now on our live page of Facebook. So anyone who pops in, I'll invite a few people to join us in the actual comments there. And for those of you who do not know me, which quite a surprise if you don't, but maybe you're new to the page. I'm Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified holistic personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, medical astrologer, master of numerology, the creator of the Chakra Balance Numerology Cosmic Energy Forecast deck, and as you can tell from behind, the owner of Holistic Fitness, where I'm at today. So yeah, so as Kitty was saying, this is a doozy of energy for today, and
mm-hmm.
she's been chatting for as long as I know about circling this date for today. What I want to do is I want to tap in just for like 2 minutes on the energy of the date, and then we're going to really dive into all the astrology stuff that's taking place today. So I want you all to write down on paper the actual date, because just saying it is one thing, but when you actually see it, today is 6/20 2022. Besides the fact that this date has what, five twos in it? Is there five twos?
Yes, there is.
So when we think about
Four,
five,
sorry, four twos.
four twos, four twos. Whether there's five twos or four twos doesn't really matter. But the fact that there's a lot of twos in today's date, that's a clue that the energy that Kitty and I are going to be chatting about today is really about the relationships, the partnerships that we have with everything, everyone, and ourselves included. Now, when you think about that date, when you write it down, that's 6/20, 2022. The 20s is the most important factor in this date because it actually repeats. Anytime any number repeats, it's the universe reminding you that there's work to be done in your partnerships. And there's zeros there. So it's reminding you that you have choices. There's not just one way of doing something. So if there's something you're doing and you feel like it's not working, guess what? Try it a different way, and there's a possibility it's going to work because you don't have to just do it one way. Try out another way. I always like to say, if it's not looking the way you want it to look, how about turn yourself upside down like a child would. Most children, for whatever the reasons are, they always have this fetish with literally like going down, and they put their head between their legs, so to speak, and they'll sort of look up and they see things from a different angle, and that could be exactly what we can do. In yoga, that's called the downward dog. Try it out and see if you can see things from a different perspective today, especially after Kitty delivers all of the insight that's taking place with today's energy. And then at the end, I'm going to pull out some cards to sort of help you align your energy to everything that is taking place over the next couple of days, because this energy is not just for today, it's the entire week. So if you are feeling as though you're out of sorts, maybe you're a little emotional, maybe you're, as I was saying to Kitty earlier, yesterday, I spent like the entire day talking myself out of my ego. My ego was really loud, and I kept having to sort of realign my energy to bring myself back into my spiritual wisdom and remind myself that I am more powerful than my ego is. And I'm here because there's a journey that I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm not going to allow my ego to take over and put me in a place that could cause some harm to myself and also others. So if you are in that same space, whether it's your ego, whether it's unprocessed emotions that's going on for you today, maybe you're feeling a little sad, considering I always say when the moon itself is in Pisces, sometimes that can do that to us, makes us very emotional considering it is a water sign. So I'm going to turn this over to Kitty. Grab your pens and paper so this way here you can go ahead and write down some notes, or perhaps you just need to listen first and then come back and grab your pen and paper and write down the notes, because you definitely don't want to take this stuff down. In fact, I should have grabbed the pen myself, but I guess I'll come back and re-listen. So Kitty, what have we got going on in the astro world?
So one of the reasons we've circled this is starting last Monday, and it's just been a week. And many people I spoke to last week said, "Yeah, I feel like a lightening up. Something's shifting. Something's different." And that's the good news. It was a lightening up. We've had three personal planets, Mars, Venus, and Mercury, all in their home signs, which means they are more powerful. They are more adept. They are more able to do what archetype they've been assigned. And it happens to have been those particular three are the first quadrant of your any astrological chart, and it's the quadrant of the inner child. So partially what happens when we're dealing with our inner child is, interestingly enough, there is no water sign in the first quadrant in the so there the emotional piece, there's a simplicity that's there, and the emotional piece we often associate with our inner child is thoughts that we've assigned it, feelings we've given, experiences, because ultimately it isn't until we start to understand patterns that we assign thoughts and emotions to it. There's quite a few people who will say, remember, we're not our thoughts and we are not our emotions. So it's interesting, yesterday, what were you dealing with? Kind of your inner child that, yes, my adult, but my ego tends to want to make patterns out of things that aren't always patterns. And we have some control out of that. So because they've been sitting there in those energies, our inner child's been lit up. And if you've looked on your chart where your Mars is, where Venus is, and where Mercury is, those are the houses that those conversations have been happening for you this week. Because on the above and the below, you're layered in the middle. That's the math of astrology. It's been kind of a laser beam, and wherever the conversations were taking place in your chart, we were asking to be aligned. Mine happened to have been taking a place in the hidden in Sagittarius, which, because it's 12th house, so it's about truth, hidden truths coming forward for me. My Mercury is in the 10th house in Scorpio, so transformation of communication and in career and in awakening, because it's also the house of awareness, your career. And then I got good old Mars sitting in Cancer, wanting to nurture everything in the house of relationship. So I really was having conversations last week in relationship to my work and to what's coming up about things that are hidden or changing for me. And I would say my dreams went right along with that. I had a lot of appearances of my dad in my dreams, and I had a lot of interesting, twice last week, which I've never had before. I actually left the dream to come to this dimension, acknowledge it, and go right back into the dream. Um,
That's
which,
interesting.
yeah, both of them were last week.
Yes, that's interesting. In fact, because you're talking about dreams, what was it? I think Thursday, I think it was Thursday morning. I obviously got up to go to the bathroom, came back, went to bed, went back to lay down, and I had a dream. I actually had a tea party with many people who have crossed over, and I literally
Mm-hmm.
sat with them all. They had conversations with me. I was like, wow. I said, we're going to have a tea party today. And I chatted with each and every one of them. And some things I do remember, some things I don't remember. But it was quite interesting to have a connect, to go into the afterlife, because I literally felt myself there. I literally felt myself going to the opening the door and going in and sitting with them all. I'm like, okay, am I here to stay? And I even asked them. I asked my mom, it's like, am I here to stay? And she laughed at me. She goes, oh, you silly one. Don't you know you have work to do? I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a definite, as you're aligning, um, there was a definite conversation going on with higher realms for everybody, because that's where Mercury is right now. And, mine is in the transformation, so it's no surprise to me that for me, and let me see, is yours? Your Mercury, oh, yours is in the eighth house. Yours
Yes.
is as well in Aquarius. So yours is about, makes sense. You had a council talking to you about that collective vision and what's changing. And so the reason why we had to circle the 20th, though, is so we've had this week to align. Well, Mercury is sextiling Jupiter. And Jupiter is the planet of awakening. It is the planet of coming to this awareness. And um, Jupiter has been talking to Neptune, it's been talking to Pluto, it's been talking to these external outer planets for quite a while right now. Um, and it's been gathering information. And up until this point, because of Mercury being in retrograde and Jupiter moved to Aries not too long ago, which was the beginning of a 12-year cycle. So it's a brand new spiral for all of us. This is a day where you, because it's a sextile, can activate getting that communication and that awareness from Jupiter. That's why we had to circle this day.
If I can interrupt, my mom is in my ear and she's asking me to ask you if you can just give the definition of what the sextile is, because you and I know what it means, and there's a lot of people who are watching who knows, but there's probably a few new people coming on. So if you could just give that definition to what that actually means for them.
So, when you hear about squares and trines and sextiles and inconjunct, those are called aspects. And aspects are kind of, if you would, they're mathematical position away from each other, and they have different powers. So when something is square, it's held at bay. Sometimes it's a checkpoint. When it's trine, it's working in the background for you and you're not aware of it. When it is sextiled, it is you activating it, you becoming aware of it. So I am very aware today of my Mercury sitting in this 10th house of career in the sign of Scorpio. So transformation, getting information in career and awareness, um, is trine my Jupiter, which is in my first house, how I'm seen in Capricorn. So I'm getting this information about new structures, new ways to come forward, new ways to put myself out there. And this is information that is outside of those personal planets, but I've been working on aligning them so they all can figure out their part.
Nice,
Because
nice.
until the 22nd, which is the day after the solstice, the three personal planets remain um, in their home signs, and then Venus leaves and goes to Gemini. But the other thing is, if you happen to be um, especially today, if you happen to be an Aries moon, or your sun moves into you're a Cancer and you're going into Cancer, you have a moon in Cancer. Tomorrow, the Cancer season starts. Tomorrow um, is this very emotional, deep waves of the ocean information that's going to come through. So today you can kind of get the information, but expect some waves tomorrow, you know.
It's so interesting you just said that combination. And I guess it's not interesting because that's what tomorrow's going to be. My client who was just here about an hour and a half ago, who was expressing how she's very emotional today, she happens to have her sun in Aries and rising and moon in Cancer. And I was saying to her, just based on this energy we have going on, that she may very well be feeling some unprocessed emotions as well that might be flowing up. And she's recent, about almost 2 years recently lost her husband. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And of course, Father's Day was just yesterday. So I'm sure there's lots of people who might be carrying that Aries Cancer energy, might be feeling the same thing.
Well,
So
and looking at your chart where those two signs are, um, those are where the moon is going and where, of course, the sun goes tomorrow. Again, because this inner child houses are lit up, it is all about how we're the simpleness we want to move forward with our lives, getting rid of the complications, including, one of the most interesting things I found out physiologically is your emotions only last, truthfully, for 90 seconds to 2 minutes. All
oh
right.
wow.
And if you cannot assign them a thought, just feel them, you have ways to release trauma and let it, and then after the just feel it for the 2 minutes physiologically, then assign it your own thought. That was me releasing. That was blah blah blah, rather than, because your ego is only trying to help you figure it out in a pattern. And so if you can isolate whatever it is coming up before you give it a thought, it does help work on that release. So
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. And Kitty, I'm going to be selfish here and ask you. You might have said it before, but I wasn't paying attention probably. In regards to this energy we have going with the sextiles, how is that? How does that influence my energy? Like, what should I be actually? My brain should be working on or
well,
focusing.
if I look at the Jupiter and the today, you have your Jupiter energy in Scorpio in the fourth house. So it is about relationship, it is about family, it is about transformation, it's about the birth and redeath. So the story you were telling me makes perfect sense in that cycle. And then your communication is in what is the vision you want to hold of that, because it's in Aquarius, but it's in the eighth house. It's transforming that vision to make it be what you want to do. So what information you may be getting from spirit, so it's no accident your mother's talking to you, is about how do I hold that vision? How do I keep, even with my family, moving forward in this relationship? And, one of the things you gave me a suggestion where what you thought should happen. I think that's a good idea that comes together, because that will transform that situation. So it's perfect.
Yeah, yes. No, I think it is. I think it is. And as I said, I mean, just the other day I was having a literally a tea party. My mom was there, my husband's dad was there. There's a lot of other relatives who were there, and they were all just chatting it away. And some of it I remember, and some of it I'm sure when I need to remember it, I'll think, oh, that's right. That's what they said. you know.
Well, and what's interesting to me is there's several sextiling energies today, but one of them is Uranus, um, which is also in your fourth house, though it's in Libra. So there's a balance that you are trying to get in this transformation. No question about it in this chaotic awakening. Another sextile that is going on is with Pluto. And of course, your Pluto's in Virgo. So you are trying, in communication, because it's in the third house, trying to put those pieces forward that transform and keep your vision going, and doing all of that. And then the last one is a conjunction with Neptune. And of course, your Neptune um, sits in Sagittarius, right? Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're not, so it's always about, you're getting some truths from spirit today. There's
Oh,
some
nice.
some truth in that activation today, some new truth, because we're talking about this Pisces moon going into Aquarius. So, you
Beautiful,
know,
beautiful. And we do have Robin here with us, and she's sharing some insight with us as well. And she says she's got a lot going on. She says that her Mercury's in Virgo in the 11th house. And oh wait, I'm sorry, that's the 12th house, not 11th house. So her Mercury's in Virgo in her 12th house, and her Jupiter is in Taurus in her 8th house. So hang in there, Robin. I think Katie's going to give you some insight here. So let's
so
see what's in store for her.
there are small nuances coming up for you in that Mercury communication. There are small pieces that are arising from that unconscious that you're purposely bringing forth. And because your Jupiter, that expansion is in Taurus in that eighth house, which is um, it is about transforming that value, transforming because it's Taurus and in the eighth house of what those little pieces mean. And it sounds like probably spirit today, because this is the activation to get the information from spirit, is giving you things to transform some of perhaps those smaller pieces that are coming out that have been secrets or been you knew something was under the surface niggling you and now it's talking to you. And what Jupiter's coming forth is to tell you, hey, we're going to transform some of this so we can let this be what it's supposed to be. I'm hearing new powers, new awakening. So,
Love that for Robin. So, Robin, I hope that, I don't know if it resonates with you, but let's see what happens at the end of today, and let's see what insights you receive from what Kitty just shared with
you
you.
know, if I were Robin, I would write down because Mercury is the Mercury is that Virgo. Write down little things that come up for you today and see if there's kind of a common thing that comes through and what is trying to be expanded and transformed about those. So,
Excellent. I love that. And anybody else who's watching, I mean, Robin is right there with us. She's got her natal chart there. So she's getting some amazing insight today. And this is what happens when Kitty and I come together, is that we bring insight to the table. And those of you who are brave enough to have your chart there and can just throw out in the comments, what signs are connected to what houses, Kitty can provide some amazing insight for you today, because this is what we do. So you always, anytime Kitty and I come to play, you always, always, always want to have your chart handy. Just right here, you can jot it in there. And then as Kitty is sharing what she's sharing, I get a chance to look at the comments to provide insight for those who are putting the information in the comments. So it's always important that whenever you hear Kitty and I coming together to play, it's important to grab your natal chart, have it there. It's almost like, okay, you're coming in for a test because Kitty's going to share information with you, because that's what she does. She's great at what she
well,
does by bringing you all together.
and what people can look at today is the energies that are acting a lot today are some of those bigger planets. So the farther the planet is away from the sun, the more. So when you talk about Pluto, Uranus, or Neptune, you're talking about cosmic planets, collective energy versus Venus, Mars, and Mercury, which are personal. And actually, um, like Mercury's external brother or sister out there is Uranus, all right? And so those bigger collective energies are in play today. And it's not that they haven't been in play, but not as, so they're aligned, and you've got these personal energies, and you've got this one bridge with Mercury and Neptune. And Mercury, of course, communication, you know. Um, though Venus is being sextiled by the moon today, so she is coming forward in relationship in the flow, but to be able to be talked to and get this information. Now, Mars isn't present today, so it isn't about action, it's about receiving today. It's about
Ah,
getting that information. Now, if you happen to have, like Joanne has her Mercury in a male sign because it's in Aquarius, um, she may need to do something expressive to get it, like meditate or start to look at her vision or, feel that bigger picture. If you have it express, if you have it more of a female sign, you might just need to be quiet to receive it. So,
and it's so funny. I was saying to my husband this morning at about, I don't know, 10 to 7. I was like, I feel like I said, I'm so happy it's Monday because I get to move my body today. Not that I
mm-hmm.
don't move my body every day, but Monday, like Monday through Thursday, are my like workout days where I really intensely move my body. So it's interesting that there it is. I'll be moving my body, and that's usually when I do receive a lot of intuitive, I call them hits. Where mom comes in and she gives me information that I need to know that I've been asking about, and right between the set, it's like, oh, got
Yeah,
it.
and that makes perfect sense because you have that male energy in your communication. Now, mine is female. Mine is in the transformative Scorpio. Um, though it's in the 10th house, which is Capricorn. So it is about receiving in structure. So for me, a guided meditation or reading charts or all of those things helps me receive. So,
Nice. Yes. Love that. I love that. So we have the summer solstice tomorrow. Yes.
yes, enters Cancer. Yep.
Yes, yes, which is one of I think I like all the signs, but I really, really, truly like Cancer, and that happens to be my rising sign. So I think that's one of the reasons why I like it so damn much. But so let's share a little bit about what we can do in that energy, like what everyone can really, how everybody can benefit from this energy tomorrow.
Well, one of the things that's rather cool about tomorrow is Venus, who's still in her native um, Taurus energy, which is all, but also she's Libra in seventh house, so it's value and relationship, is in a lovely background trine with Pluto tomorrow. And Pluto right now is in Capricorn in structure, but Pluto is transformation. So in this solstice, we've got this energy in the background working to transform us, working to, in mine, it's always coming up with the secrets because it's in that 12th house, working together to enjoy the energy of the light coming through. Of course, Cancer is the water of the ocean. It's in ebbs and tides, and it nurtures and it takes care of us. It's the moon, it's the mother energy. So, this new moon that's coming up on the 28th, very powerful manifester. All of them are, but especially because it's in her native sign. It's in that Cancer. So, we have a lot of archetypal energies being lit up this month of who they are and what they are in kind of their purest form, so to speak. And interestingly enough, um, Neptune goes retrograde on the new moon. So,
Yes,
so that's really quite deep conversations and nurturing with spirit and from spirit. So,
and retrogrades in Pisces, correct?
yes, retrogrades in their home, its own home sign. So we have that one planet hanging out in its home sign too. So
Yes, yes. So it should be an interesting day for me, considering, I have the Pisces sun energy and the Cancer rising sign. Woohoo! I'll be swinging from the chandeliers.
it will probably be a good day to ground yourself.
That's what I'm meaning. I'll be swinging from the chandeliers. Yes. Keep my feet on the floor. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes, and that Aries energy is conjunct the Aries energy because the moon moves into Aries tonight. Um, that moon energy, which is the time of Cancer, so it is conjunct then also with this Jupiter energy of expansion. So it wants you to get started. It wants you to transform the relationship, and it's a relationship you have with yourself because at the same time there's another sextile going on with Mercury, communicating to yourself. So Jupiter's giving you this information today, and tomorrow is a great start to using some of that information. So,
Yes. So this sounds like it's going to be a very powerful, um, intuitive week, and also a lot of spiritual wisdom coming in for many.
and
Where
and interestingly enough, there are not a lot of aspects this week. Like after that, it's one or two things to activate and whatever. But this 2 days is like, wow.
yes, a lot of stuff coming in. So a really great time to a journal, and b, because of the I want to say winter, but we're not in winter. The summer solstice. This is a great time to do the journaling, and again, whether it's grounding, movement, whatever it is that one needs to do to stay connected to the earth. So you can receive the insight that you need to receive during this week and really better understand the relationships that you do have. And I always like to say, when it comes to relationships, so many people get overwhelmed by relationships. So many people go into that negative Nelly state with relationships. And reality of it all is, I mean, what we're all really here on this earth to do is to find harmony in our relationships with self and others. So this is a really great week to, if you've been asking, what is it that you're supposed to be doing with your relationship, whether it's a relationship with self, that inner child, or the relationship with somebody else, or even the relationship with your career. because that's part of the relationship aspects. There's a lot of I like to say balls hanging, flowing, going on right now, where so many people are sort of in question to what direction they're supposed to be going. And I do believe that this energy of this week, we're going to gain some amazing insight to giving us an idea of what direction we're going into. At least I'm hoping to gain some insight because I have way too many balls juggling right now. I'm like, really, can one of them just drop? Maybe not.
Well, we've been this past week aligning. So it's a matter of now coming in. And, our time and spirit's time are very different. And so it takes a little bit longer to synthesize, but today is the day if you can activate it, and depending how well you kind of worked on your alignment, some information will come forth for this solstice that will help you. The solstice is about this is about for us the longest day of the year, the most light available, and it's going into this time of nurturing. So nurture yourself. If you're feeling frazzled, then acknowledge that's where I am.
Yes, yes. And as usual, mom is popping in again, and she's actually literally like she's doing this, she's pointing. And what she's pointing at is rose quartz. Because again, when we talk about all this relationship aspects, for ourselves, rose quartz is a really good crystal to work with in reference to bringing more love in self-love. And if you don't have a crystal of rose quartz, then just like Kitty and I are wearing like that pink family, put some pink on just to remind yourself that it's important to love on yourself over the next couple of days so that inner child can feel that love that he or she needs to feel during this time. And then you can receive it for yourself, and then eventually you'll be able to receive it from others and also give it out as well. So that's really important for us to know that right now. Thanks, Mom, for that message.
Right, because the inner child, we come into this world expecting to be loved. It doesn't mean it always happens, but there is a simplicity in childhood and a belief. And when that gets askewed, that's where childhood traumas come from. But part of that is as a child, there is an expectation to be taken care of and nurtured. And so if you didn't happen to have that as a child, this is the time to do it for you, you know,
Yes, yes.
because
And I forget where I heard this from. I don't know if it was maybe in a dream or I was hearing it on a YouTube. I heard this from somewhere, but what the message was is that if you didn't receive the love that you expected to get as a child, what really was is that your parent or parent actually gave you a gift because they gave you a gift to learn how to love yourself, which was a gift. And maybe that's what you came into this lifetime to really learn is self-love. So
hmm
if you didn't receive it from the person you wanted to receive it from, they gave you an opportunity to really learn that for yourself and to give it to yourself. So rather than being upset and bitter about the fact that you didn't get what you thought you were supposed to get, that expectation, say thank you to them for giving you the opportunity to give it to yourself. And that's really powerful.
it is. It's very powerful. It's a personally powerful day, and you have an opportunity to kind of um, ignite both spirit and Jupiter to say, "Hey, so what you been talking about? What is it you need me to do?" So
Definitely, definitely. Love this. I love this. Now, Katie, I know I had mentioned earlier that I would be pulling some cards. Do you by any chance have cards with you today too?
yes, I do.
All right, so what we're going to do now, unless there's more that Kitty needs to share regarding the cosmic information.
No, not offhand.
All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to pull some cards, and the cards are going to be in alignment with pretty much of what we said today to help you guys out in reference to what, at least with my deck, what chakra you want to work on today so you can clear the energy of that chakra, and it will be easier to adapt to this energy. And of course, the affirmation will help to raise your vibration or add to your story that's going on right now. And the number, I always like to say, it's a hidden message that comes from numerology and also associated with the astrology that's going on right now. So I'm going to just start the shuffle. And what we'll do here is I'll pull a card, then Kitty will pull a card, and maybe we'll do 3 cards each, so a total of 6 cards. And I like the way that fell into the number 6. I did not plan that, guys, just so you know. It just happened. The number 6 just flew out my mouth. So let's see what we got going here. What cards want to come out
Oh,
without falling out?
that one flew out, so that one wants to come out.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
And it's very interesting. 2 cards came out of this one. 2 of them came originally, and I put one down. I was like, and I heard my mom said, no, both of them want to come out, so I have to give both out. So interesting enough, and I love when out of my 45 cards in the deck, there's one card that's actually a gift. And that's the card that popped in today. So everyone who's here with us, watching live or even on the replay, you have 24 hours to grab this gift. It's a 15-minute complimentary Reiki treatment that, of course, you'll get virtually. And whatever chakra that needs to be worked on during that 15-minute complimentary session, we'll work on that. And to redeem this, all you need to do is email healingwithin76@gmail.com. Those of you who are watching on the Facebook page, you can put down in the comments, right, yes, Reiki, and then I'll come back to you and schedule that appointment with you. The other card, and by the way, double zeros, which is, again, right aligned with our energy for today, reminding you that there's always more than one way of doing something. So if what you're doing right now doesn't seem like it's working, as I said earlier, go into that downward dog position and look from upside down and see if you can see it in a different way. Second card, interesting enough, follows right in pursuit. And this is basically one reading. So it's not like this is going to be the 6 cards. This is just 2 cards that came out. Second card is about creativity. Similar to what Kitty was saying, that this is a great day to tap into whatever it is that's going to help you be aligned to this energy. So whatever your creativity is, use your creativity today, whether it's dancing, singing, writing, whatever action. If you are somebody that needs action, such as me, who has that Aquarius energy, so mine's about action to receive. You may have feminine energy, which means you're going to be doing maybe some sitting, writing, whatever it is. The number 66, I love the way this works out. That 6 energy is about today and over the next couple of days. It's about healing. It's the energy of the year. The 6 energy is really reminding us to take the time out this year to work on your mind, body, and spirit, and recognize they're all connected. And then, of course, that 6 is a 12, which again, we can't make this stuff up. That 12 is also what we call a portal gateway, helping us to really have the independence, but also recognize that we have partners that help us co-create. The chakra to work on is solar plex. Now, before I dive into solar plex, I want to come back to that 12, which is your 3, which is associated with Mercury. I love the way this works out. So it's about communicating with others as well. And wherever Mercury is in your chart, whatever house it's associated with, there's everything is in perfect alignment. Solar plex energy. It's really important to allow yourself to trust that you're exactly where you need to be right now. There is no mistake. There's no like, well, if I would have done it this way, maybe things would have been different. We all say that, but reality of it all is, how the hell do we really know if we would have done it different, it would have been different? We might be exactly where we are right now. So there is no mistakes. Recognizing that you do need to work on feeling more worthy to receive what is meant for you. So if you are dealing with some inner child issues that fall into not feeling worthy, not feeling accepted, not feeling deserving, this energy is a really great time to start releasing that so you can be open to all the blessings you deserve. So that's that card's insight. Let's see what Kitty has in store.
Well, it's interesting because the first card that jumped was the energy of fear. And it's a 5, which is the vibe of today. So some of the 5 itself is change and is the house of creativity and joy. But a lot of people have trouble accepting joy. And fear is what comes up. And part of that is because when we get something unknown, we tend to assign those thoughts. And if we can just feel fear, not even call it fear, like, oh, not comfortable and I'm going to feel it, then we can release it differently. Otherwise, we turn it into anxiety, which is just worry sent into the future. And so, fears do help stop us, but they also show us places to ask for light to be shown. So that was the energy that came up for this today.
I love that. And I loved how it like really piggybacked on the cards that came out for me.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Second set of cards that are going to show up. Oops, the whole deck wants to fly out. Let's not have that happen. Oh, this is so appropriate. Did I not shake up these cards? I swear I did. Self love. Did we not just talk about self love?
Yep.
Self love. It's that kind of day. Remember to wear the pink. If you don't have a rose quartz, put on some pink today and over the next couple of days, and reminding yourself as we do move into Cancer season. Cancer is the ruler of the moon, and the moon is associated with our inner child. So self love is extremely important. Even if you did get love from your parents and your siblings or whatever, not indulge in self love, whatever that might look like for you over the next couple of days. Again, with all this energy we have going on this week, you may find, like I said, that I might be hanging from the chandeliers. It's really important to make sure both feet stay on the ground. So the vision that I always work with when working with getting grounded is visualizing a red string. It could be a cord, whatever you want it to look like, from your root chakra, from your tailbone. And at the end of that string, there could be an anchor, a crystal, whatever it is, but something heavy. And visualizing it dropping down as far down into the earth. And as it's dropping, you may start to feel like your body is like sort of shaking because your body's calibrating to the energy to help you get grounded. So if you can visualize that every morning when you first wake, feet on the floor though, make sure your feet are on the floor when you're doing this, because if you're lying down and that calibration's going, you may get dizzy. So make sure your feet are on the floor, ground your energy so you can be aligned to whatever it is you need to hear for the day. Other perfect number, 7-3, which is 10. Perfectly aligned. That 10 is the work that we are here to do. Not just our soul's purpose work, like our work that we're making money from, but our soul's purpose in reference to the relationships that we are actually here to heal from. And that 10 associated with astrology is Capricorn. So it's the opposite of that Cancer energy. So we have that feminine, masculine energy going on, that yin and yang, where again, as children, we expect our parents to love us. Well, sometimes it happens that way and sometimes it doesn't, which is why that self love is so important. So, again, that 10 energy is about your soul's work that you're here to do, the relationships, and recognizing how much you've achieved, how much you've done since being a child, and how much work you have actually accomplished regarding healing whatever needed to be healed as a younger version of yourself till today, and continue to recognize that there's so much more you're going to be doing, because as long as you have a pulse, you're here to do some work. So I'm
That's
loving
right.
that showed up.
That's right. Well, and what I pulled to go with it came rushing out. It's this is from the deck, The Magic of You Oracle, and it's this card, Merrick.
Ooh. Ooh.
And Merrick is embrace oneness with the universe. And this is the card of slowing down, to take a deep breath and give gratitude for what you have. If you don't know where you're going, then give gratitude for what you have, and to step away from others' expectations to self love and know that you're on your own path. It's to step lightly into the world and choose happiness, choose gratitude. That's what it's about. So it goes right
Excellent.
along with your card.
I love that. And before I pull my last card, again, just want to remind everyone, as Kitty said earlier, so many of us wish for joy, wish for happiness, wish for peace. But yet, once we actually feel that, once we have the peace, once we're in joy and once we're in happy, sometimes you get so uncomfortable being there because it's new, that you sort of, I say to many of my clients, you sort of go into your treasure box looking for something to be annoyed about, or looking for something to worry about, because you're so uncomfortable being in joy, peace, or happy. But just for today, as they say in the Reiki world, just for today and over the next couple of days, allow yourself to embrace the peace, the happy, or joy that shows up, and see how that feels, rather than going into your treasure box and looking for that worry or doubt or sadness that you're used to feeling. Because it is a blessing and it is a gift when you do feel joy, happy, or peace, maybe even all of them. So
Well,
let's see.
having been a member of a 12-step program, one of the things you learn is serenity's boring. You're kind of used to drama and being jazzed, and learning to accept joy and serenity is a little bit on the something's got to go, right? So,
Got it, got it, got it. So here's my last card. And interesting enough, and I was kind of curious if any of them would show up this way. For those of you who are following for the very first time, when cards show in reverse, there's two things we need to know. A, pay attention to the message, and B, it's really important to work on this chakra. And the card that's showing up is in reverse. It's balance, and it's the pink. It's all about the high heart. It's all about the compassion, the kindness, the love that you want to have for yourself, but you also want to extend it out to everybody else, especially for those who you expect something from, but you didn't receive it from them. Be compassionate to them because perhaps they may not be able to do that just yet. And by you being able to be compassionate to them, you may help them be able to soften their energy a little bit. Then we
mm-hmm.
have balance, which is really about what this is all about. It's about bringing balance into our lives. I think Kitty said that earlier about me, where I'm looking for this balance, and I sure am. I'm looking for the balance in my relationships, and I'm sure every one of us are. So the big question is, where do you want balance in your life? Where do you want to see more balance showing up? Is it perhaps up until now, up until maybe 2 years ago, you felt like you were working so much and didn't have enough time with family? This is an opportunity to bring that balance into play. 7 and 6 is 13, which is 4. Works right along with this Cancer season because it's the fourth house. It's
Yes.
also about your foundation. When we think about the foundation, meaning your home, your shelter, but also the balance you want in your mind, body, and spirit. So it all really comes hand in hand. So I'm loving that 76, that foundation, bringing balance into your physical home, bringing balance into your mind, body, and spirit, and bringing balance into your shelter with your family. Because after all, Cancer season is home, family, healing, nurturing, and mothers. It's about your mother. It's finding that balance with your mother. And whatever you are mothering, the projects you are mothering, finding that balance with those projects. And any women or male, recognizing that feminine energy as well. So I love that.
Well, I got directed to light some sage to help clear. And the last card I pulled was, of course, the message for us all. This is the Ascended Masters. They're in contact with us. This is Seven Spirit. And in their hands is the infinity sign, the lotus, the dove, and the cards. And so, and four. There you go. There's the four. Um, and so it really is about balancing and knowing that this is that higher ascended master energy that is available. That's what's coming to us today, and to hold the space for it. It doesn't mean today I'm going to walk away with plan, but today I can walk away with joy and gratitude knowing they are talking to me about the plan.
Exactly, exactly. So once again, just keeping pen and paper with you throughout the day, even at the bedside, because you may receive a lot of insight during your dream state, whether you're sleeping or during, let's say, you're sitting and just dreaming, like daydreaming, as they say, to receive the information. And whatever way, other way you do receive information. Like for me, I receive a lot of insight when I am in movement. So that's when that comes down. So pen and paper, be open to it, and spend time in meditation. Be kind to yourself. The word I'm hearing is give grace to yourself right now, because there may be some things that you are working through and healing through. So you have to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. Just because we have all this amazing energy coming in, by the end of the week, you're not going to be like, okay, I got all my answers, I'm good to go. It's going to take time. We do have 6 months left to 2022. So we
Yeah.
have lots of work that we're going to be still working on to heal. Kitty, any final words for you?
No, I think that that was perfect. Grace. That's kind of how I always think of the Cancer season anyway. It's a season of grace. And it is the season where our private energy, the moon, rises forward. and takes a look at who we are. And, of course, mine always takes a look at who we are because I have a moon in Leo, sense of self. So, but there is a lot of grace. So, this next 48 hours to 72 hours, a lot of breathing, a lot of take a look at do you need to express it, go do something, or do you need to be quiet?
Exactly, exactly. And if you wouldn't mind, because this is probably new for me too, and I'll probably have to come back and write this. In regards to, if you can, if there's a category, if you can specify like which zodiac signs are the feminine energy and which ones are the masculine.
So, if an easier way to understand it is if it's an air sign or a fire sign. So, air is Libra, Aquarius, and who am I forgetting?
Mercury.
Gemini.
I mean
Uh,
Gemini.
yeah.
Yes,
Or is Aries, Sagittarius, or
and
Leo.
Leo.
Those are male because
Oh,
they're
okay.
fire and air. And earth and water are feminine signs. So
Okay, perfect.
Scorpio, Pisces, and
Cancer.
Cancer are feminine. And of course, Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. So,
Excellent. Good way of knowing that. So yeah, so this way here, for those who are watching, you can take a look at your chart and see how much feminine, how much masculine energy you have in your chart, and then determine from there which way do you need to work, which makes sense to why I do a lot of, I guess, do a lot of movement.
well, it really does because your communication comes in transformation in Aquarius, which is a male sign,
Mhm.
and it's the vision. So moving for you is important because it is, you know, the opposite of Aquarius, of course, is Leo, which is the sense of self anyway, is that fire. So
Yes,
it's very expressive. And
exactly.
and as for me, even in the 10th house, it's also I have like a double feminine when it comes to that because it's Capricorn, um, but I have a double feminine because it's in Scorpio. So mine really is about receiving and hearing, and for me, sometimes I have to distract my mind so that things can get to it. So
Yes, yes, yes. So, sometimes we get in our head too much, and we sort of like lose track of what's coming in. If we're busy, we can't possibly bring in what we need to bring in. And with that all being said, again, those who are watching live or replay, check out those cards, see what chakras you have to work on, and work on those chakras so you can align your energy to what's coming in. So, Kitty, let everybody know how they can reach you.
sure, you can reach me on Facebook at Intuition of the Soul, and actually on Instagram and Facebook at Optimize Your Energy, um, or at intuitionofthesoul11 at gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. And her email is strolling right on the bottom there. So if you need to jot it down to do so. And anyone who needs to reach me, obviously you can reach me on Facebook. My email is healingwithin76 at gmail.com. And I'm just all over the place. So feel free to reach out if you need anything. Kitty, it was so much fun, as
It was
usual.
fun.
I
Yeah, this is
love playing here with you. And we're
well,
going to
and
obviously do this again, I'm sure, soon. So, but for now, everybody, thank you so much for spending your hour with us. Until next time, enjoy this energy that's coming in. Bye bye for now.
namaste.
Namaste.